campaigning across the country, dogged by a number of challenges here and there. What story would you write home as you look forward to Thursday?
Well, it has precisely been a war zone. It continues to be a war zone. It was not any kind of free and fair campaign. The Electoral Commission has not been and continues not to be in charge. The election and the campaign period was taken over by military and police. It was marred by violence. Never before in Uganda has a presidential candidate had to campaign in a bulletproof vest and a ballistic helmet. Never before has presidential candidates been barred from using the main roads or from even campaigning or from using radio and TV stations, especially upcountry. There's never been so much murder. You remember the November massacres where more than 100 people were murdered, although General Museveni says 54. Many of our comrades were brutalized. As we speak now, my entire campaign team is in prison, some in Chitalia, some in military detention, others in police stations across the country, and many continue to be abducted and arrested by the security forces. So it has been a war zone. However, we thank God that we are here. We've been able to accomplish or to reach where the mission has reached so far. We told people that in this campaign, we are no longer reading from the book of Lamentations, but from the book of Acts. So much as it has been full of hustle, much as it has been marred with violence and a lot of impunity, we are here and we will get there.
All right, Honorable Chagulanyi, let's talk about vote protection ahead of the Thursday polls. And your team did launch the YouVote app that is going to help with, tallying and all that. But the question would be, in this regard, how do you intend to utilize this application that won't be contrary to the mandate of announcing results, which is a preserve constitutionally of the Electoral Commission?
We did not talk about announcing the result. We talked about guarding our election and make sure we have an accurate result. It is the duty of the Electoral Commission to announce the result, but so is the duty of the Electoral Commission to arrange free and fair elections to ensure that all candidates have and enjoy their democratic rights as per the law. But you have seen the Electoral Commission has been biased. The Electoral Commission itself has been silent on the murders, on the arrests, on the brutalization, on the blockage of opposition candidates from campaigning. The Electoral Commission itself, besides being silent, came out and blocked me from accessing 16 other districts on top of the 13 that they said were corona volatile, although General Museveni continued to congregate people and to campaign in those districts. So we are not looking at the Electoral Commission for answers. Like we've been saying, we look at the people of Uganda for answers. And therefore, we came up with this application to have our accurate result so that if the Electoral Commission chooses to continuously break the law and refuse to reflect and announce the voice of the people of Uganda, we have our result. We have an independent and clear result. So that is why we had that application. But again, you saw probably a month back, the NRM, the ruling party, announcing that they have an application. That application was not to collect food. It was to audit the election. You heard the Electoral Commission of the NRM announcing officially that they would have their own tally center. I did not hear the Electoral Commission mention or complain about that. I did not hear you ask anybody about the illegality of that. So I think just like the Electoral Commission should be balanced, you should also be balanced in your questions.
My question is really balanced, and that is why I asked how you intend to use it, given the fact that this is a preserve of the Electoral Commission announcement. I hope you take it in that faith. Now, given the fact that you have talked about...
I certainly do. And
given the fact, sorry about that, I'll give you time to respond. Now, given the fact that you've said yes, this is to protect your vote, and you do have a right to that, question would be, if the Electoral Commission does not announce the voice of the people, like you say, how do you intend to go about with the data that you have collected as a team of the National Unity Platform vis-a-vis what the Electoral Commission would have announced?
Well, the reason why the Electoral Commission gives a copy of the declaration of result form to our agents is to ensure that we have compiled audit and come up with a title, with a total. And we are not doing that 1986 style. We're doing that 2021 style because we are a new generation. And that's why we're using an application. We are not collecting this data to make pillows out of it. We are collecting this data to come up with a total and know the real result of the election, which we will know and we'll let the world know.
All right, Honorable Bobi Chagulanyi, I beg your pardon, Honorable Chagulanyi Sentam, ahead of the elections, there are over 35,000 polling stations where Ugandans are expected to be casting their ballots. What promise do you give to your supporters that you have deployed across all the polling stations? Because even for the information that you would need to be feeding into your election monitoring system, that would be in tandem with the fact that you have polling agents deployed across the country. Is there a promise that you give to your supporters that each and every polling station would have an agent who will guard your vote?
Well, this is not a promise I, as Chagulanyi, am giving to the supporters and the people of Uganda. This is a promise that we, as a people of Uganda, are giving to each other. I've always been saying, and let me say it again, that this is not about Chagulanyi. While I play my part, everybody else is being requested to play their part, and they've played it very, very honorably. I mean, I'm not the only one that have spread this message of freedom and liberation. All of us have done. I've played my part. I've asked comedians, I've asked musicians, I've asked all citizens, whether you are farmer or teacher, whether you are soldier or market vendor, to spread the message, and they've indeed done it. It's the same thing that we are asking all Ugandans to help guard the vote. Of course, as the National Unity Platform leadership, we have endeavored to spread our people across the country. Remember that we have been complaining that the regime is using the police, the military, the RDCs all over the country to arrest our agents, to arrest our coordinators. They are detaining them in police and military detentions and say that in the process of recruiting polling agents, we are actually recruiting rebels. Many of the young people that have been sent across the country are in detention. For example, our National Youth MP candidate is in detention today because the RDC ordered for his arrest. I will remind you that the Museveni regime is viewing this election or treating this election as a military operation. They are arresting our people, picking them from their houses, picking them from hotels, picking them from wherever. So while we are giving the promise to the people of Uganda, we are asking the people of Uganda to also step in so we can be able to overwhelm the dictatorship. And that also connects to our application. While there's a section for our official agents to bring in information, there's also a section for the entire population to be able to participate in vote guarding. Where they've not participated in campaigns directly, at least we are using this application to bring us together from all the corners of the country.
Well, how adequately facilitated are you logistically and in terms of manpower to secure your vote throughout the country?
Well, we are making every effort. Although it has been alleged by the regime apologists that we are supported by foreigners, this has been and continues to be entirely a homegrown cause. Ugandans here in Uganda and Ugandans in the diaspora in Oman, in America, in England, even within the region in East Africa and Africa are in full support of this. But most importantly, a lot of people, and I salute them, especially young people, are doing a lot of work to see that they add a brick on this. So we have a fair coverage of the country, but we continue to appeal to various fellow Ugandans to come into this, but also to appeal to other opposition forces to also do what they can, because we are all suffering the same plight.
Well, in the past several days, there has been quite a number of mass defections from the National Unity Platform. And it is something that we're also watching on the radar in the coming days. How much toll will it have on your bid for the presidency?
You know, that's a joke. General Museveni is used to the old and archaic ways of politicking. Every time it comes towards an election cycle, they parade a number of people from wherever they come, and they claim that they are defecting from the National Unity Platform. You have seen the regime using the police to raid our offices, to confiscate our paraphernalia, the T-shirts, the berets, and everything, and posters, and then later trying to use it against us. We don't know the people that they say are defecting. But again, remember, Simon, that claiming to defect from the National Unity Platform is the biggest business so far. Our people have been impoverished. So for anybody to pick money from Mzee Museveni, it's a question of coming and saying, hey, I am BOBI Wine's friend, but now I'm ready to kick him and to kick him aside and, in fact, badmouth him if you can pay me money. I was reading the Monitor just a few hours ago, and there were people in Kololo that went to meet the Prime Minister to say, to demand for money so that they don't cause chaos. Imagine, that is how deep we have sunk. Honorable Wakana Lukunda used to be an admirable character, and so was Museveni. But to see that these, our former leaders who have turned into misleaders, have sunk so low, it does not make us, it does not describe us. It describes them. It describes what kind of liars they've been. It describes how ideologically handicapped they are. Now, they don't use any, they don't convince anymore. They don't have anything more constructive anymore to tell us to win our mandate and our trust. They either use taxpayers' money to buy us out, or they coerce us by beating us, imprisoning us, or killing us. But that should remind us that this is what has been happening with all tyrants before they fall.
All right, Honorable Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, following your campaign trail, there have been a number of promises in your manifesto to the Ugandans, to the different cross-sections of society, among which you did promise the least earning serviceman to have about 1 million shillings. You've promised better hospitals, infrastructure, among other things. Also over time, and as a legislator, you've spoken against Uganda's indebtedness with regard to how much the government is borrowing. Now, let's speak to aspects of revenue, meaning away from borrowing, the other option would be tax mobilization within its country. But looking at the numbers given by the Uganda Revenue Authority as at 30th October 2020, we did have a tax register of just about 1.6 million Ugandans, and 1.3 of those are individuals. We have grown the tax register by only about 0.81%, and yet also the tax to GDP ratio continues over the 10 years to grow at minimally an average of 2%. How do you intend to provide the resources through the available means in the country to fulfill your pledges as a president, if given the mandate?
Thank you very much. As usual, towards an election cycle, numbers are thrown around. This has been General Museveni's habit, throwing about numbers with the GDP, with economic development. But this economic development does not translate to the common person. It does not reflect when you look at people. So that became nonsense to us. We are not going to throw around numbers. We want to talk about economic development that is reflected with the common person, that is showing change in the lives of the common people. Yes, we have borrowed and over-borrowed. But again, with the money that we have borrowed, what has it done? I sit in Parliament, just in the COVID period alone, we borrowed over 4 trillion shillings. To do what? To fight COVID. Did you see any single ambulance, government ambulance procured? No. Have our hospitals or health centers changed? No. Has the pay of our medical workers improved, or their conditions of working even when they're being overworked? No. What do you see? More tear gas, more bullets, more soldiers being trained instead of training medical workers, more police patrollers, etc., etc. So don't give us that nonsense of throwing around numbers. We want the lives of our people to improve in vernacular, in simple terms. That aside, you mentioned my promise, our promise as a national unity platform to the servicemen and women, to the men and women in uniform. I want to reiterate that we know that the lives of our people, including the men and women in uniform, could have changed a long time ago. We know that if better governance was here in Uganda, a people-centered government, the lives of our people, including the men and women in uniform, would have been improved. But why? Because they have been used to coerce, suppress, and silence all voices that are fighting for people, including them. So this has been and continues to be our promise to the men and women in uniform. My brothers and sisters, the majority of you are young men and women just like us. We are age mates. We are birthdays. We've suffered the same and we continue to suffer the same. Many young men and women who I speak to, soldiers that are deployed, for example, in Karamoja, they earn about 400,000. And you see, just transport alone for Christmas or for holiday or for any special event to come to their families is half or more than half their salary. So you find that even their pay alone cannot give them a decent life. Their houses, they sleep in, jokingly called Mama Ingia Pole. Their wives die giving birth just like ours. Their children suffer to get a decent education, which they never actually get. Themselves, when they fall sick, you know, they don't get no decent medication apart from their seniors. It is just the seniors who are connected to Museveni that benefit. Even in terms of promotion, they are segregated, they are undermined. You'll find a gentleman or a woman who has served in the police or armed forces for 40 years, but still maintaining the same rank. Only seeing these breeds from the presidential line flying through the ranks. So we hope to make life better for you.
All right, Honorable
Chagulanyi. To suppress the voices that are, don't be used to suppress the voices that are actually fighting.
Honorable Chagulanyi.
Do not go down, don't be like the fly they talk about that went to the grave with the corpse. You are being used by an old tyrant whose future is already behind him. But we as a generation, our future is ahead of us. So serve the nation, don't serve the dictatorship.
Honorable Chagulanyi, I'll take that as an allegation, but it's okay. The reason I'm giving you the statistics is not because of anything else, but you seek to become the president of Uganda. And these are the realities, because these are figures from the Uganda Revenue Authority. And the reason I'm bringing them forward is because if the Ugandans on Thursday give you the mandate to become the president of the Republic of Uganda, these are the realities that you are going to face. And my question is, how different do you hope to do things from the government that has been here for the last 35 years?
Well, the difference is going to be that we are going to empower the institutions, not the individual. The problem we have today is that an individual has usurped all the powers of all institutions. He single-handedly, or maybe with a few handlers, budgets for the military and does it his way, not the way it's supposed to be done. The same thing with all these other institutions. He, as an individual, decides the fate of our health sector. And that explains why even when numbers are put on table, even when good proposals are put on the table, even when we are signatories to life-changing protocols like the Maputo Protocol, like the Abuja Declaration, which required us to at least invest a mere 15% of our national budget in our health sector. We have not done that because the priority is not to better the lives of the people. That is why our hospitals continue to sink. That is our schools continue to rot. That is why all other sectors are not cared for. Why? Because ideas are there. They are put on the table.
Well,
but again, so-called intelligent figures and convincing then are put on the table and read about. And Ugandans hear figures being thrown about, but not translating into life-changing situations that they live in.
Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi, finally, what is your relationship with homosexuals, like the president alleges, and foreigners?
Well, that is nonsense. It is a shame. It is really disrespectful to be talking to a married man who is married to a woman who you know. You continue. I feel insulted to be drawn in sexual talk with whoever when we have a few hours to lead to an election. General Museveni has always tried to paint us with any negativity, with violence and with whatever. He cannot convince people anymore, okay? You know I'm a married man. You know I'm a culture man that would rather come to this national TV and use these last minutes to talk about how best we are intending to peacefully, constitutionally, and non-violently liberate ourselves. But you're driving us into sexual talk, which to me, I find very, very diversionary, okay? We are being supported by Ugandans. General Museveni can talk about whatever. I saw him today trying to change the narrative, trying to be a younger person, etc., etc. Why? Because he does not have anything more to tell Ugandans. I am telling Ugandans that we are a 21st century generation that need 21st century solutions. I'm telling people, which already they know, that we want to bring back the rule of law and respect for the rights of the citizens. We want to end arbitrary arrests. As we speak right now, Nubian Lee, Eddie Mutwe, and more than 100 other of our supporters are in jail for committing no crime. You are not talking about them. You are asking me about homosexuals. Come on, Simon. Don't be one of the journalists that are being used to divert the pain of the people of Uganda by bringing around nonsense other than talking about sense and other than bringing the pain of Ugandans on the forefront.
What percentage of victory do you predict on Thursday?
Come again. Please ask again.
What is your prediction in terms of percentage of your victory come Thursday?
Well, you have all seen the entire nation is warming up for change. General Museveni is panicking. That is why they're trying to use every opportunity to divert the minds of the people of Uganda. We are going to the polls. I continue to call upon the people of Uganda, please turn up and vote. Muveyo Mulonde, they have brutalized us, they have tear gassed us. I cannot go out to campaign. They are trying to divert, to bring every kind of nonsensical talk to change the inevitable. We have been talking about a new Uganda. We have a few hours to go to the polls. Please come out and vote. Don't be diverted by anything. This is our opportunity to change our plight. It's our opportunity to break free from the shackles of oppression. It is our opportunity to peacefully, non-violently, and constitutionally end a 35-year-old dictatorship.
Well, best of luck in your pursuit. Well, now we want to...
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's go to candidate Henry Tumukunde, General Henry Tumukunde, retired, but on the campaign trail. Well, a very good morning, General, and thank you for joining us on the Morning Breeze. It's 3 days to polling day. How prepared are you?
Well, I'm prepared in the sense that I've campaigned extensively in the whole rest of Uganda. I've reached every corner. I've reached every corner. Hello, hello.
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you. Please go ahead.
Yes, I've reached every corner, and I have satisfied myself beyond reasonable doubt that every Ugandan is listening to my views. And I've also had the opportunity to expose myself to the situation that is surrounding the country. As far as I'm concerned, that's very, very important in the preparation. We've got